Good morning, guys. I ain't real sparkly. Apologies for the lack of videos recently. I always say that, don't I? But I've been busy. Well, I have been busy, but I've also had an operation, so I've been convalescing. I've had an operation to correct my sleep apnea. Now, I was diagnosed by the NHS 8 years ago from a sleep study. And I was given a machine, and I've been using said machine for the last 8 years. Kill me now. It is what it is, and it did initially help, but it's an absolute pain because you have to take it everywhere. Obviously, if you go to hotels, if you go camping, you need a generator. It is an absolute pain. But I've recently come back from an expedition at altitude, and I couldn't take my machine with me, so I put nasal strips on, nasal steroid spray, and I didn't snore. I actually slept quite well. So I was like, right, do I actually have sleep apnea? Because you know, you trust the NHS, obviously, because they've got your best interests at heart. Have they really? Not the collective? Well, no. Anyway, so I visited a MaxFax consultant, a highly regarded MaxFax consultant, Prof. Alankavan, legend. And he said, no, Rob, you don't have sleep apnea. You've got an issue with your septum, your nasal passage isn't working, and you've got a big uvula, oi, oi. So he said, actually, if we do this operation, I'm pretty certain we're going to correct your sleep apnea. And yet, 3 weeks after surgery, I am snoring. No, I'm not snoring. I'm actually getting a good night's sleep. My sleep apnea has been corrected. So yeah, trust the NHS. More for you. Now, testosterone deficiency, yeah. It's a diagnosis often made by the NHS if you're really low and you're really lucky. But there are lots of guys struggling out there with low testosterone who don't get diagnosed properly because it's actually quite a complicated condition. It isn't a, here's your blood test, yeah, you're testosterone deficient, here's TRT, go off and prosper. It's quite complicated. Now, you always look to exclude the diagnosis of testosterone deficiency, and you go on testosterone replacement therapy only if you clinically need it. But it is involved. It's involved because you have to address all those things that cause the low testosterone. Now, it might be a pathology, but it's likely that there's a whole load of wrongdoings. Poor sleep, stress, bad diet, lack of exercise, wrong mindset, getting you into this never-ending spiral of self-destruction. And going on testosterone replacement therapy just doesn't correct that. You've got to work. You've got to look inwards to be the best version of yourself. Now, we know that testosterone has a close relationship with dopamine, the reward neurotransmitter. So we are goal-driven as men. We are focused, sometimes to our undoing, often to our undoing, because we need to be considered and have a holistic approach and address everything. But we're tunnel vision sometimes with testosterone. That's why women are better at communicating, because they're more estradiol dominant, which means they're serotonin dominant, which means they can communicate better. So men logical, women emotional. That's why we're the leaders, because we need to take charge and go forwards. So before I upset more females, what's it all about? Well, this testosterone and dopamine relationship means, as we've said, reward driven, goal focused, and we're physical beings in a world of psychological stress, but we subject ourselves to too much psychological stress because we can't escape it. So we need to try and make sense of the madness. We need to find purpose and meaning in a world that has no purpose and meaning. How disappointing and depressing is that? Well, what does that mean? Well, essentially, if we are physical beings and our primary goal is to survive, well, we've done that, haven't we? But here we are in this perverse world where we no longer have to fight for survival. Every other animal species has to fight for survival because it's about survival. So if we don't understand our physiology, we are left with nothing. So how to make sense of the madness? Well, you need to find some purpose and meaning, obviously. So first off, look to this. Look to your physiology, how your body functions. And if you understand that and you become a healthy human being, yeah, you can enjoy this playground. Now, it should be a playground, but it should also be about contributing. It should be also about the collective. Now, we said about the NHS, it deals with the collective, not the individual, because about this, it is about the collective, doing the most good. But you are an individual. So you need to take personal responsibility and be personally accountable for your behaviours and your actions. And we've had this paternalistic relationship with the NHS. You go to the doctor, fix me. You should go to the doctor and ask him how he can help you fix yourself by taking charge of your own health. Now, with testosterone deficiency, hopefully you've already gone down that road. You've looked to address your lifestyle, your nutrition, your exercise, and you've got a positive mindset, but something is missing. And sometimes you need that support and guidance, not only the testosterone, but the support and guidance going, yeah, you're doing the right things. No, you're not doing the right things. Which is why it's so important to have a clinical review and not just get prescribed testosterone and go, see you later, mate. I've made my cash. I'm off. Because it is a journey, as we say all the time. It's not about the destination. As we said, testosterone, we are goal driven. We're destination driven, but there is no destination. The destination is an illusion because it's about the journey. And the reward is the determined effort that you put in to keep going forwards, to face adversity, because we need to face adversity in this safe world. Now, lots of us have engaged in self-destructive behaviors, but we now know those are bad for us. We knew that before, didn't we? But we still engage in self-destructive behaviors because we didn't know what we were supposed to do in this weird world with all our primary drives of survival, fighting, and there's nothing to fight for because we're physical beings in a world of psychological stress. And our excitatory neurotransmitters and catabolic hormones that are not released physically, but they're released psychologically, break down our body. We get this never-ending cycle of breaking down, but not having the capacity to repair. Yin yang, baby, that's what it's all about. Understand those principles. Every day is a new opportunity to be the best version of yourself. We must live in this present moment because 2 seconds ago is 2 seconds ago. 2 seconds in the future is 2 seconds in the future. Now, if you're living in the past, you're depressed. If you're living in the future, you're anxious. You must be mindful and considerate of right now to be the best version of yourself. So again, testosterone gives you that platform, gives you that foundation to you to build to be that person. So there's a chronicity to hormones. Testosterone should be considered the calming hormone, the counterbalance to cortisol. Testosterone also converts into estradiol. Now, as we said, testosterone dopamine, estradiol serotonin. So some guys, when they start testosterone replacement therapy, say this isn't doing what it said on the tin. Well, you were sold a lie. You weren't given realistic expectations because there is a dialing in process to get you where you need to be. So it's about mimicking physiology. So it's about replicating physiology. Now that is a diurnal release of testosterone. Now that is having a well-balanced TRT protocol that means a healthy testosterone and healthy estradiol. Now we're not very healthy, are we, living in this poisonous world? Eating junk, drinking booze, being chunky monkeys. Now the aromatase enzyme that converts testosterone to estradiol is located in numerous tissues, but the two tissues that you can directly impact, have a guess from what I've just said, is body fat and liver health. So there is a dialing in process. Not only can you titrate the dose according to effect and prescribe with caution an aromatase inhibitor, with caution, you can always look to improve outcomes by doing what you should do, and that's being a healthy human being. So as we said, numerous times before, so I won't go on about it again. But it is this hardship. You need to face hardship to be the best version of yourself because hardship brings about resilience. So we're massive fans of ice baths. Why? Because you have to control your mind. You control your mind by first controlling your breath. Now it is all about breath. You can't live without breath. So if you control your breath, you're taking control of your parasympathetic nervous system that's having to fight that counterbalance of the sympathetic nervous system that's gone, my God, I'm cold. So you can control your emotions. You can control your emotions by controlling your psychology and controlling your physiology. The two are interlinked, physiology and psychology. They're not independent, they're interdependent. So yeah, you can control your sympathetic overload by controlling the parasympathetic nervous system. You can take that forwards into the rest of the day. Because if any stressful situation occurs, and it's normally psychological stress, you can control your breath and go, okay, this is what it's all about. You're, no, slow and considered. You can go to saunas, massive fans of saunas. Again, it's facing hardship. It's building those dynorphins, those things that build resilience. Can you face adversity? Yeah, hell yeah. But it's a titration process with that. You build up. You don't just suddenly go into 100-degree sauna and sit there for 20 minutes because you'll die. Much like you just don't jump into an ice bar and say, well, doc said be there for 10 minutes. Don't build up, because we're so deconditioned. We need to recondition ourselves. Incredibly important to realize that, because I want to be that. Well, you can't be that from being in this place. You need to build up and build up and build up, because what's it about? It's about the journey. Now, the journey may be from a dark place, and sometimes it is. Lots of our patients complain of suicidal ideation prior to testosterone replacement therapy. Some just want to feel better. But it doesn't matter where you've come from, it's where you're going and where you are right now, and what considered actions are you going to take to be that person, to lead by example. So we talk about the individual, the importance of the individual, but it isn't just about the individual, it's about the collective, isn't it? So it's better to give rather than take. But you start with yourself, because if you set an example, if you lead by example, others will follow eventually. And they will understand what? The necessity to do what? Earn your reward.